Dennis, we need the sound on the TV.
Nobody, nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody gets left behind. Nobody, nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody gets left behind. Come sisters and brothers, come fathers and mothers, we marching together. Nobody gets left behind. Come black ones and white ones and white ones and solid and united together. Nobody gets left behind. Nobody, nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody. Nobody gets left behind. Nobody, nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody gets left behind. Come big ones and small ones, come short ones and tall ones, we marching together. Nobody gets left behind. Come old ones and new ones, LGBTQ ones, united together. Nobody gets left behind. Nobody, nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody gets left behind. Nobody, nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody gets, nobody, nobody gets, no, 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 nobody gets, no, nobody gets left behind.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Parish this morning in our transition time as people start tipping their toes into the water of being in person. It's a lovely day out today, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. As our worship team has been evaluating the quality of the worship experience on Sunday mornings, it's become clear that it can be really helpful for people to see the lips and mouth of the person who's speaking. And that's as true at home as it is here. And so things have improved. Our infection rate is low enough that I took a test this morning and our safety team has said that I can preach. Oh. Our worship theme for March is renewing faith. And you know, one of our biggest tasks in beloved community is keeping faith with each other. As we journey through our days, we might find ourselves in conflict with others, disagreeing with someone's offhand remark or offending action or a perceived insult. And I don't know about you, but the more things in the world that happen that seem worrisome, the more that seems to happen to me. How do we, as people in our spiritual community, navigate these moments to regain our sense of balance and harmony with each other? Our call to worship is from Gordon B. McKeeman this morning. Ministry is what we do together. Ministry is all that we do together. Ministry is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deeper, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope, and liberation. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of our human spirit, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together with one another in terror and torment, in grief, misery, and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life. We who minister speak and live the best we know with full knowledge that it is never quite enough, and yet are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joy shared. Ministry is what we all do together. We light our chalice with words from Richard S. Gilbert, and if you have a chalice at home you would like to light along with us this morning, you're invited. We meet on holy ground, brought into being as life encounters life, as personal histories merge into the communal story, as we take on the pride and pain of our companions, as separate selves become community. How desperate is our need for one another, our silent beckoning to our neighbors, our invitations to share life and death together, our welcome into the lives of those we meet, and their welcome into our own. May our souls capture this treasured time. May our spirits celebrate our meeting in this time and in this space, for we meet, all of us, on holy ground. Our opening hymn is When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, number 1008. If you want to follow along, we're not yet singing here in the sanctuary. Please remember to mute if you sing along at home.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
I really look forward to having the choir back in here singing. Our story this morning is from Teacher Tom. As you know by now, probably if you've heard my sermons very much, I love Teacher Tom. He shares my philosophy of early childhood education, and he runs a cooperative play-based preschool in Seattle. He tells this little story of a day in his classroom. I didn't do it. I'd seen the boy push his friend, knocking him to the ground. He was lying there still, whimpering. His mother had told me crossly that she believed in punishment. She understood, however, that I was not going to resort to punishments, although she doubted I could stick to that. Not with her son. Punishment is the only thing that works, she insisted. I saw you push him, I replied matter-of-factly. I strive never to threaten children, even with the volume of my voice, although I will, when I want to make sure my point is made, speak firmly, which I did then. I can't let you push people. I didn't do it, he shouted again, on the verge of tears himself. The temptation is to keep pressing, to get him to confess. But there was no point. Everyone involved knew what happened. I was kneeling by the fallen friend. I had already determined there were no external injuries, and so I was rubbing his back. Malcolm is crying. I'm taking care of him. I didn't do it. This time I let the denial stand. This is the greatest flaw in the theory of punishment. Fear of punishment makes it more difficult or even impossible to come clean and face the harm for which you need to make amends. The threat of harm makes it impossible to deal with the real harm. There are far too many adults in the world like this boy, people in positions of power, people who cannot come clean no matter what. When punishment is off the table, however, it clears the way for making amends. I focused all of my attention on Malcolm. He shook his head when I asked him if anything hurt. I continued to rub his back. Again, the boy said, I didn't do it, but without energy and almost pleading. I didn't need to punish him because he was punishing himself, facing the natural consequences of his behavior, his entire being focused on it. He wasn't denying it any longer, but rather wishing with all his being that he hadn't done it. We call it regret. It's not uncommon for adults to assert, I have no regrets. It's meant as a statement of bravado, masquerading as strength, but all I hear is a pathetic, I didn't do it. We have all done regretful things, and the only way to move beyond them is to take responsibility by striving to undo the harm we've done. Punishment leads only to denial. I don't believe anyone who says they have no regrets, because none of us has undone all the harm we've caused. I have no regrets is just one more denial. Regret is a great teacher, but only if we manage to not allow it to become guilt. And the way to do that is to strive to make amends. The boy stood watching us as tears brimmed. He picked up a toy truck and tried to hand it to Malcolm, but it was refused. He squatted down and put his face into Malcolm's. I didn't mean to, Malcolm replied softly. Yes, you did. Now the boy broke into a full cry. I'm sorry. He dropped down beside Malcolm, putting his arms around him, his hand replacing mine on his back. Malcolm placed his hand on his friend's head And they lay there for a time in the dirt, a picture of regret and forgiveness. I wonder what we can learn from the children as we try to navigate through our relationships. And now I have a time for prayer for peace. And today, it's in two parts. First of all, we have a video clip, and then I have a short prayer that I will add at the end. So I'm going to tell you the story about the clip before we play it. Violinists across the world have joined together to perform the Ukrainian folk song Verbavaya Doshekcha. There are about a dozen consonants in that word in support of Ukraine. It started with Ilya Bonadenko. He filmed himself playing in a basement shelter in Kiev. He had to film himself playing his violin in between bomb explosions because he couldn't hear himself play. And then the project grew to 94 violinists from 29 countries. Karenza Peacock, a British violinist who lives in Los Angeles, had befriended some young violinists in Ukraine via Instagram, and she discovered that some were in basement shelters and had their violins, and so 9 of them joined in this project and played along with Bondarenko in unison. And then Peacock asked colleagues across the world to accompany them in harmony. The violin has traditionally been an instrument through which to express grief in Ukraine. Watching the videos as they arrived in my inbox, said Peacock, was very emotional. It seems like everyone is praying with their violins. Our hearts bleed for the underdog, for those who can't fight. Our hearts rejoice in seeing others overcome adversity. Our hearts desire love and peace for everyone. Spirit of life, make our hearts ever more compassionate and empathetic. May we see pain in others and be moved to help. May our heart seek equality. May our hearts seek the good in all people. And may our hearts choose action over fear. Reverend Gretchen Haley. Reverend Gretchen Haley, UU minister at Fort Collins, Colorado, said, as a child growing up Catholic, my sense was that we should give away forgiveness like candy at Halloween, freely and readily to anyone who comes asking. As an adult Unitarian Universalist, however, I have realized that forgiveness is a lot more complicated and challenging than that image would imply. What should we ask of those who have hurt us before we offer forgiveness, if anything? Must someone seek your forgiveness in order for you to forgive them? What if they can't or won't? What about self-forgiveness? Is there a point where something or someone is beyond forgiveness? What about forgiveness of a group, community, or institution, or of life itself? You can tell she's a UU minister because she has all the questions. She goes on, forgiveness is connected to memory and time. It asks us to engage our feelings about something in the past in order to change our experience in the present and move into the future. Forgiveness is an act of vulnerability, both from the one asking forgiveness and the one offering it, as it reveals the risks of trying to love in an imperfect world. It is hard to seek forgiveness, and sometimes it's even harder to ask for it. It requires honesty, willingness to listen, and willingness to take a risk of being hurt yet again. And yet we know that if we let hurts fester, they can be really hard to get past. It's work to restore faith with another human being. In fact, it can be one of the most difficult, most vulnerable, most terrifying things that we face in life. That's the point at which we need to have faith that working together, we can find good solutions and resolutions of our difficulties with those we care about. Maybe that's why the first covenant of First Parish Church, signed by the founding members in 1746, the people pledged to walk toward each other in love. And that's still something we aspire to do as we work toward holding each other in beloved community. About a year ago, I began meeting with a group of people here at First Parish who feel passionately about the importance of communicating in positive ways in order to work through misunderstandings and hurt feelings. Our UU faith calls us to beloved community, and the aim of this group is to offer a space for that to happen. They did their homework. They researched best practices. They did a lot of self-reflection. They delved into ethics and values and UU theology. And then they wrote and produced a video, which we will be sharing with you today. And I think you'll be as impressed as I am with their work and with the thought and effort and heart that they put into it. Lisa Whittamore, who is on this committee seeking resolutions, is going to introduce this video for us. Pam, you need to spotlight. There you go. Thank you. We're not hearing Lisa here. You're still muted, Lisa.
There it is.
Yeah,
Are we on?
you're on.
Okay. How many times have we had moments when someone we trust says something or does something that hurts our feelings or upsets us? If we don't feel comfortable bringing it up directly, is there another choice we might make? A group of your friends in our church community have gotten together to make a new option available to you. A committee is now in place to offer a sanctuary, a safe place where you can bring an issue and a friend to open up to each other with candor and compassion. When it's too much for you to bring it up alone, we may be able to offer a helping hand. 2 years ago, Audrey found that some members had concerns about resolving the inevitable conflicts that can arise among people who are in caring relationship with each other. Our group came together at that time under the rubric of Right Relations Committee, a committee that has served First Parish in the past. Our purpose is to maintain and nurture healthy relationships and productive communications. We now meet as the Seeking Resolution Committee and have committed our time and energy to creating a process that we offer to anyone in our church who could use help in communicating with someone they care for and in overcoming disagreements. It's been an incredibly rich experience for all of us on the committee and a growth experience. We've created a video to clarify our process so that you can become familiar with what is available and comfortable in approaching us. Take a few minutes to learn about this new opportunity for communication and understanding in our beloved community. What would it take to bring you together for conversation, to walk toward each other in love?
Hello, thank you for the opportunity for us to share the quest of the first UU Seeking Resolutions Committee. We hope you have a better understanding of our mission after this brief presentation. Volunteer committee members are Ruth Anderson, Celia Brown, Patrice McCabe, Brian Swanson, and Lisa Whittamore.
The focus of our committee starts with a quote that some of you may know. Sometimes as a spiritual community, we fall short in our practice. Yet our promises ensure that we always strive to come back into caring and respectful relationship, speaking the truth to each other in love, admitting our own errors, and looking past our grievances to others' basic worth and value. Our committee's main goal is to provide a structured, supportive environment where church members are comfortable expressing their own perspective and listening attentively.
We have researched best practice protocols for mediation meetings. In response to concerns expressed between members of the congregation to this committee, the church members in disagreement will be offered an opportunity to meet to seek understanding. The structure that we will use asks participants to respectfully take turns speaking and listening to each other's perspectives. Each person will then be asked how they wish the issue between them could be resolved. Finally, facilitators will help summarize the key concerns and agreements. We seek not to solve disagreement for others, but to provide a structure for members to seek a clearer understanding among themselves. In order to illustrate this process, Ruth will share a real-life experience she had, followed by a fictionalized skit demonstrating how this would look if she had asked this committee for help.
Shirley and I are good friends. We especially love to go to yard sales on Saturday mornings. I recall one Saturday morning, I drove to her house, honked the horn, and no Shirley. Finally, her husband Jerry walked out and came to the car and told me Shirley had left because I was late. I was confused and upset, but I decided to go ahead and go to the yard sale myself. When I got there, I noticed that Shirley was there and she neither acknowledged me nor said hi. I was confused again, but proceeded on. I then realized that Shirley was really irritated with me and I truly want to resolve this issue of being late if Shirley is willing, because she is very important to me.
That's really hard. I want to pause the video here for a moment and honor the courage it takes to share a story like that. Thank you, Ruth. I can relate to the feelings expressed in this skit. Shock, pain, fear, grief, anger, confusion, wanting to communicate, to understand and be understood, to repair the breach. But it can be really hard to even reach out. I know I get afraid that I'll be rebuffed, or that I'll make things worse, or that I'll be hurt again. This is where the committee could become a resource for our beloved community. If Ruth were having this problem today, she could reach out to the Seeking Resolutions team, who could ask both parties, what do you need to feel safe in a conversation? Then if both parties are willing, they can meet with one or two of the committee members in a private, confidential setting. The purpose is to hold space and allow the people involved to take the time to listen and process and feel supported. Let's see what this might look like.
Thank you, Ruth. The following is a skit that we will share with you to demonstrate the conflict resolution meeting structure we will employ. Ruth will play Ruth. Lisa will play Shirley, Ruth's friend, and I will serve as the facilitator. Here we go. Thank you both for your willingness to share your concerns with each other. Let's review the structure of our meeting together. We all agree to treat each other with respect, to listen attentively, and to speak the truth. One of you will present your concern, while the other person listens and then repeats what they heard. Shirley, let's start with you. Ruth, please do your best to listen with the intent of remembering the message that Shirley is sharing.
Hi, I'm Shirley. Ruth is a dear friend, and we've enjoyed each other's company over the years. However, she has one habit that is driving me up a wall, and it has to stop. Too often, she tells me she's going to pick me up at my house at a certain time, and she is invariably late. She never takes the time to simply drop me a text, to give me a call, to let me know that I have a few extra minutes to accomplish other things. If this behavior continues, I don't feel our friendship can last. When she is so inconsiderate of my needs and my time, I feel she doesn't value me or the other responsibilities I have.
Ruth, can you please share what you heard from Shirley?
I hear that Shirley is very upset about my always being late and not letting her know when I'll arrive. I'm sorry that she feels I do not value her time and our friendship. And I'm very distressed that my lateness may end this friendship.
Shirley, did Ruth accurately state your concerns?
Yes, I think she did.
Ruth, it's your turn to share your concerns.
I do have trouble being on time. Other people have commented on this. I want to get better, and I will try so much harder to be prompt, and I will call or text Shirley if I know that I will be later than she expects me. Her friendship is very important to me.
Shirley, please share what you heard Ruth say.
I hear Ruth saying she wants to get better at being on time. I can tell that she's sensitive to my concern and is eager, as I am, to find a solution. I'll certainly help her to achieve those goals, and I'm sure we can find a better footing moving forward. It's good to know that we're both committed to a positive outcome and to our friendship.
Ruth, did Shirley accurately state your concerns?
Yes, she did.
Ruth, how do you think you and Shirley's concerns can be resolved?
I want to work on being more prompt, and I will try my best to leave earlier so I will be on time, or I will text Shirley and let her know if I'm running late. I will keep my eye on the clock and allow enough time so that I can keep that commitment. I do welcome Shirley's help to change this habit I have of being late.
Shirley, are you in agreement with Ruth's suggestion for resolution?
Yes, I think we can work this out.
To sum up, Ruth will be working hard to be on time and let Shirley know if she will be late, and Shirley will support her. I imagine this was not an easy meeting for either of you. Thank you again for your willingness to take the time to listen and to seek resolution.
With that simplified seeking resolution skit, we now turn back to Ruth to address the impact of the real-life situation on which the skit was based.
I so appreciated Shirley's valuing our relationship enough to be honest with me and willing to work this through. If we had not dealt with this, I may have lost a very special friend. Then in September 2021, I did in fact lose Shirley as she passed away. I miss her very much, and I'm so grateful for the years of fun we had.
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you for your attention to our description of our Seeking Resolution Committee's work to seek resolutions among First Parish members. Of course, the meeting structure we demonstrated in the skit can and may already have been used by many of you to seek resolutions. Again, our focus is not to solve disagreements among church members, but to provide a structure for First Parish members to use, if they wish, help to seek a better understanding of each other's perspectives. May we each strive to seek resolutions, to come back into caring and respectful relationship, and to look past our grievances to others' basic worth and value. We welcome your feedback and questions, and we welcome new members to the committee, and thank you again.
I want to thank this group for what they have put together, and also to recognize that that was a very shortened version of what a conversation like that will probably usually look like. Information on how to reach out to the team will be in your Tuesday Circle of Care. And members of the committee are here in person and on Zoom to answer any questions after the service. We have a short offertory this morning. Our half plate goes to the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, who is giving lots of humanitarian aid in Ukraine already and will continue to do so as long as they're needed. Our offertory is a video, another video from Ukraine, a short one, a 9-year-old girl singing in her native language the Disney song, Let It Go.
Немножечко тишины.
Не открывай, храни секрет, будь хорошей девочкой для всех. Закрой все чувства на замок, навечно отпусти и забудь, что прошло уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь, новый день он кажет путь. Не боюсь ничего. скажу ничто. Холод всегда мне был по душе, а я иду все выше на ледяную плащ. Из страха не вернувшись, меня уж не догнать. Пора узнать, что я могу, на помощь призову к себе. Во льдах навечно отпусти и забудь, что прошло уже не вернуть. Отпусти и забудь, новый день он кажет путь.
Браво, браво, умница, умница. I hope that you have found today what you came for. I hope that you're bringing something home you didn't expect. Please check your Friday perspective for other opportunities to connect in with your church congregation. Highlights for this week: Alice's coffee orders due today. The Ukrainian support rally that Jean mentioned is at the Northborough Town Commons at noon. On Wednesday, the women have a spring equinox celebration here at the church. And next Sunday, we should have a nursery. And if any parents have any religious education related paperwork, you can hand it to me, or you can mail it or email it to Pam. And we also could use somebody to look at their Tuesday perspective. And if you are handy and that box fan air filter looks like something you could create at home and you wanted to donate it to the nursery, it could be very useful. Just putting that out there. And Friday, April 1st, open mic returns to Parish Hall at 7 p.m. First Friday. And so I leave you with this blessing. The Spirit of the Holy dwells in each of us. The Spirit of love dwells in each of us. May the flames of our chalice remind us as we go through the week that eternal love dwells in our hearts, that the Spirit of life dwells among us as we gather faithfully in community, and that the arc of the universe needs our embodied love and faith to bend toward justice. Go in peace.